Can you imagine a moment when two worlds collide? Not in conflict, but in harmony. That's exactly what happened in July 2017, when Emma Watson, the globally recognized actress and UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, sat down with His Holiness the Dalai Lama at his serene residence in Dharamshala, India. This wasn't just any meeting. It was a profound exchange of ideas between two giants of influence, one representing modern activism and entertainment, the other embodying ancient wisdom and spiritual leadership. What could be more inspiring than this union of youthful energy and timeless insight? Together, they tackled universal issues like education and gender equality, issues that resonate deeply within each of us. Isn't it fascinating how these themes transcend boundaries, cultures, and generations? Their collaboration reminded us that solving humanity's greatest challenges requires not only intellect, but also heart. It is not enough to approach such monumental tasks with logic alone. We must also bring compassion, empathy, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of change. After all, isn't it true that the most transformative movements in history have been fueled by both reason and emotion? And oh, the symbolism of Dharamshala. Nestled in the majestic Himalayas, this small town became a metaphor for bridging ancient wisdom with contemporary struggles. Could there be a better reminder that answers to today's problems often lie in blending old truths with new perspectives? The Himalayas themselves, standing tall as timeless sentinels of nature, seem to whisper lessons of endurance and adaptability. Just as mountains weather storms yet remain steadfast, so too must humanity find strength in its roots while embracing evolution. In this sacred space, where spirituality permeates every breath, the dialogue took on an almost sacred quality. A fusion of head and heart, past and present, individual and collective. Emma Watson, known for her role as Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter series, has used her platform to advocate for women's rights and gender equality since being appointed as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador in 2014. Her journey from the magical world of Hogwarts to the real-world battlegrounds of social justice is nothing short of extraordinary. She carries with her the voices of millions who look up to her not just as an entertainer, but as a beacon of hope and resilience. On the other hand, the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, has long been a proponent of compassion, peace, and human interconnectedness. For decades, he has traveled the globe, sharing teachings that emphasize the importance of inner transformation as a pathway to outer change. His presence in this conversation added layers of depth, urging us to consider not only systemic reforms, but also personal growth. Their collaboration demonstrated that addressing complex issues like gender equality requires diverse perspectives and approaches. Emma brought the urgency of modern activism, rooted in data, policy, and grassroots mobilization, while the Dalai Lama offered a philosophical lens, reminding us that true progress begins within. Together, they painted a picture of holistic change, one that marries action with introspection, strategy with soulfulness. Isn't it remarkable how their differences complemented each other, creating a tapestry richer than either could weave alone? This meeting was particularly significant because it brought together two influential figures from vastly different spheres, entertainment and spirituality, to address a universal issue. Imagine the ripple effect of such a partnership. Emma's global fan base, many of whom are young and digitally connected, gained access to the Dalai Lama's timeless wisdom, while his followers were introduced to the pressing realities of gender inequality in today's world. It symbolized the convergence of modern activism and ancient wisdom, highlighting the idea that solutions to contemporary problems can be found in both new ideas and timeless philosophies. But let's delve deeper into why this matters. Why does it matter that a Hollywood star and a spiritual luminary came together? Because their union challenges us to rethink our assumptions about influence and impact. We often silo leaders into categories. Celebrities belong to pop culture, religious figures to faith. But life doesn't operate in silos. Real change happens when we break down these artificial barriers and recognize that everyone has something valuable to contribute. Emma's charisma and relatability opened doors that might otherwise remain closed, while the Dalai Lama's moral authority lent gravitas to the conversation. Together, they showed us that no voice is too small, no perspective too niche to make a difference. Moreover, This meeting served as a powerful reminder that inspiration can come from unexpected places. Who would have thought that a British actress and a Tibetan monk could spark such a meaningful dialogue? Yet, here they were, proving that shared humanity transcends titles, roles, and backgrounds. It invites us to ask ourselves, what walls are we building in our own lives? Whose voices are we excluding from our conversations? And how might we create spaces where seemingly disparate worlds can meet, learn, and grow together? In essence, this gathering was not merely a discussion. It was a testament to the boundless potential of collaboration. It challenged us to dream bigger, think broader, and act bolder. After all, if Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama can find common ground in the quest for equality, surely we can too. The role of education in achieving gender equality education. What a powerful word. It is not merely about filling minds with facts. It is about shaping souls and transforming societies. Both Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama passionately agreed that education holds the key to dismantling stereotypes and empowering individuals, especially women and girls. But have we truly grasped its full potential? Emma Watson spoke with conviction, urging us to rethink societal norms. Why do so many cultures still prioritize educating boys over girls? How can we expect progress when half the population is held back by systemic disadvantages? Her voice echoed a truth we all know deep down. True education must go beyond academics. It should teach empathy, respect, and inclusivity. Imagine classrooms where children learn not only math and science, but also kindness and mutual understanding. Wouldn't that create a world worth living in? She emphasized that education is not just a tool for personal advancement, but a vehicle for societal transformation. When girls are educated, they are more likely to delay marriage, have fewer children, and invest in their family's health and education. This creates a ripple effect that benefits entire communities. Yet, despite these proven outcomes, millions of girls around the world are still denied access to even basic schooling. Why does this injustice persist? Is it ignorance, apathy, or deeply ingrained patriarchal structures? The answers are complex, but one thing is clear. Without addressing the root causes of gender inequality in education, we cannot hope to achieve true equality. Emma also discussed the importance of STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, for girls, noting that women are often underrepresented in these fields due to cultural biases. By providing equal access to STEM education, societies can empower women to pursue careers in traditionally male-dominated industries, thereby closing the gender gap in professional settings. She challenged us to imagine a world where young girls grow up believing they can be engineers, scientists, or astronauts, dreams that are currently stifled by societal expectations. Isn't it time to dismantle these barriers and let every child dream freely? The Dalai Lama, ever the philosopher, took it further. He asked, "What good is knowledge without compassion?" His words struck a chord. Emotional intelligence is as vital as intellectual prowess. Teaching children to manage emotions, resolve conflicts peacefully, and show compassion. Isn't this the essence of true education? After all, what use are degrees if we cannot build healthy relationships or reduce violence? He shared stories from his own life, recounting moments when he realized the limitations of academic learning without emotional depth. He spoke of the importance of inner peace, self-awareness, and ethical responsibility. For him, education is not just about preparing students for jobs, but about nurturing them into compassionate, thoughtful human beings who contribute positively to society. Doesn't this vision resonate deeply with anyone who has ever felt disillusioned by the current state of education systems worldwide? Together, they painted a vision of education that nurtures both mind and spirit. A vision that calls for a revolution in how we think about learning. Are we ready to embrace it? Can we reimagine schools as places where creativity, empathy, and critical thinking are valued as much as test scores? The stakes are high, but so are the rewards. A reimagined education system could unlock the untapped potential of millions of girls and women, paving the way for a more equitable future. Now here's a thought-provoking question. Can gender equality succeed without men? Emma Watson boldly declared that it cannot. She challenged men to step up as allies, reminding them that equality is not a women's issue, but a human issue. Doesn't it make sense? When one group thrives, Don't we all benefit? She delved into the concept of toxic masculinity, a term that stirs strong emotions. Why do we force men to suppress their feelings or conform to rigid stereotypes? Isn't it time to free them from these chains too? By breaking free, men can live authentically, and women can find true partners in the fight for justice. Emma urged men to reflect on their roles in perpetuating inequality, whether consciously or unconsciously. She reminded them that privilege is not something to feel guilty about, but something to leverage for good. What better way to demonstrate strength than by standing alongside those who are marginalized? The Dalai Lama nodded in agreement, sharing personal stories of his journey toward recognizing women's value. He posed a profound question: how can we lead others if we cannot humble ourselves to learn? Leadership, he suggested, begins with humility and empathy. Don't these qualities define greatness? He recounted instances from his early years, when he was surrounded predominantly by male figures, and how his perspective shifted after observing the resilience and wisdom of women in his community. These experiences shaped his belief that true harmony comes from valuing all voices equally. Their shared perspective was clear. Men must no longer stand on the sidelines. They must join hands with women, not as saviors, but as equals. Isn't partnership the foundation of every meaningful relationship? Emma and the Dalai Lama envisioned a world where men actively participate in dismantling patriarchal structures, not out of obligation, but out of genuine commitment to fairness and justice. They called for a cultural shift, one that celebrates vulnerability in men and encourages them to redefine what it means to be strong. But let's pause for a moment. Is gender inequality the only barrier women face? Emma Watson wisely pointed out that discrimination intersects with race, class, and geography. Think about it. A girl in a developing country faces far greater hurdles than her counterpart in a wealthy nation. How can we call ourselves civilized if such disparities persist? She highlighted the plight of women in low-income countries, where poverty, cultural norms, and lack of infrastructure compound the challenges they face. For instance, many girls in rural areas walk miles each day to fetch water instead of attending school. Others are forced into early marriages, cutting short their education and opportunities. These realities demand urgent attention. Can we truly claim progress if millions of women remain trapped in cycles of poverty and oppression? The Dalai Lama offered a philosophical lens. Everything is interconnected. Just as ripples spread across water, our actions affect the entire web of life. Shouldn't solutions then be culturally sensitive and tailored to specific needs? Compassion, he argued, demands nothing less. He encouraged listeners to approach global challenges with an open heart and mind, recognizing that no single solution fits all contexts. For example, empowering women in urban settings might involve advocating for equal pay and leadership opportunities, while in rural areas, it may mean providing access to clean water, healthcare, and safe transportation. This dialogue urged us to see the bigger picture. Are we addressing root causes or merely treating symptoms? True change requires a holistic approach, one that considers the intricate tapestry of human experience. Emma and the Dalai Lama reminded us that achieving gender equality is not just about fixing isolated problems. It's about creating a world where everyone, regardless of background, has the opportunity to thrive. Isn't that a vision worth striving for? Significance of the meeting. Why it matters. What made this meeting so special? It symbolized the bridging of worlds, young and old, modern and traditional, secular and spiritual. Emma Watson represents a generation fueled by passion and technology, while the Dalai Lama embodies centuries of wisdom. Together, they showed us that no single perspective holds all the answers. Isn't diversity the very fabric of innovation? When we bring together seemingly opposing forces, youthful energy and timeless insight, digital activism and ancient philosophy, we create something far greater than the sum of its parts. This meeting was not just about two individuals. It was about the power of collaboration across boundaries to address universal challenges. By partnering with the Dalai Lama, Emma amplified her message to audiences who might never engage with feminist discourse. Isn't that the beauty of cross-cultural exchange? It opens doors, sparks curiosity, and ignites action. Imagine the ripple effect of such a partnership. Emma's global fan base, many of whom are young and digitally connected, gained access to the Dalai Lama's timeless wisdom, while his followers were introduced to the pressing realities of gender inequality in today's world. This fusion of perspectives created a unique opportunity for mutual learning. For Emma's audience, the Dalai Lama's involvement added depth and moral authority to the conversation. For the Dalai Lama's followers, Emma's advocacy brought a fresh, urgent lens to issues they may not have previously considered. But let's delve deeper into why this matters on a broader scale. In a world often divided by ideology, geography, and culture, this meeting served as a powerful reminder of our shared humanity. It challenged us to rethink the artificial barriers we erect between us and them. By coming together, Emma and the Dalai Lama demonstrated that meaningful progress requires listening to voices outside our immediate circles. Their collaboration invited us to ask ourselves, whose voices are missing from our own conversations? How can we create spaces where diverse perspectives are not only heard but valued? And let's not forget the inspiration this discussion provided. Didn't it remind us that everyone has a role to play in creating a fairer world? Whether you're young or old, rich or poor, male or female, your voice matters. Your actions matter. Your choices matter. The dialogue between Emma and the Dalai Lama wasn't just about gender equality. It was about the collective responsibility we all share to build a better future. They reminded us that change doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when individuals step up, speak out, and take action, no matter how small their contribution may seem. This meeting also underscored the importance of leadership in driving social change. Both Emma and the Dalai Lama embody different forms of leadership. Emma through her grassroots activism and global platform, and the Dalai Lama through his spiritual guidance and emphasis on compassion. Together, they illustrated that leadership is not confined to one style or approach. True leaders inspire others to act, challenge the status quo, and remain humble enough to learn from those around them. Isn't that the essence of greatness? Finally, this event highlighted the transformative potential of storytelling. Emma Watson shared personal anecdotes and real-world examples to ground the discussion in lived experiences, while the Dalai Lama drew on parables and philosophical teachings to provide a broader context. Their combined narratives painted a vivid picture of what's possible when we dare to dream bigger and act bolder. Stories have the power to move hearts, shift mindsets, and galvanize action. And this meeting was a masterclass in harnessing that power. In essence, the significance of this meeting lies not just in what was said, but in what it represented. A call to break down silos, embrace diversity, and work together toward a common goal. It reminded us that no one person or group has all the answers, but together, we can find solutions that are as innovative as they are inclusive. Challenges and criticisms. Addressing the gaps, of course. No event is without criticism. Some accused the meeting of being performative. Do high-profile discussions really lead to change? They asked. Others questioned whether the Dalai Lama's views would resonate in conservative societies. These concerns are valid, but shouldn't they motivate us to act rather than dismiss? After all, critique is an essential part of progress. It forces us to reflect, refine, and redouble our efforts. The question then becomes, how do we address these gaps meaningfully while ensuring that such dialogues translate into tangible action? Criticism of tokenism is not new in the realm of activism. High-profile events often face scrutiny for appearing more symbolic than substantive. Critics argue that conversations between celebrities and spiritual leaders, while inspiring, may lack the grassroots impact needed to drive real change. For instance, does a discussion held in the serene hills of Dharamshala truly resonate with a young girl in a remote village struggling to attend school? Does it dismantle systemic barriers or merely scratch the surface of deeply entrenched inequalities? These are hard questions, but they are necessary ones. They remind us that inspiration alone is not enough. It must be paired with strategy, resources, and sustained commitment. Others raised concerns about cultural sensitivity, particularly regarding the Dalai Lama's involvement. In many conservative societies, traditional gender roles are deeply ingrained, and challenging these norms can provoke resistance. Would the Dalai Lama's message of compassion and equality be embraced, or would it be dismissed as out of touch with local realities? This tension between universal ideals and cultural contexts highlights a broader challenge in global advocacy. How do we balance universal principles with respect for diverse traditions? The answer lies in fostering dialogue that is both inclusive and adaptable, ensuring that solutions are rooted in the lived experiences of those they aim to serve. Despite the critiques, the meeting achieved something invaluable. It started conversations. And isn't conversation the first step toward transformation? History has shown us that revolutions, whether social, political, or cultural, begin with dialogue. Conversations plant seeds of awareness, challenge long-held beliefs, and inspire collective action. While it is true that talk alone cannot dismantle patriarchy or eradicate inequality, it creates a foundation upon which change can be built. Moreover, this particular conversation had a unique advantage. Its participants. Emma Watson's global influence brought attention to issues that might otherwise remain confined to activist circles, while the Dalai Lama's moral authority lent credibility to the discourse. Together, they reached audiences that spanned generations, geographies, and ideologies. Even if the immediate impact was limited, the ripple effects of their collaboration could inspire individuals and organizations to take concrete steps toward gender equality. The key takeaway here is that criticism should not paralyze us. It should propel us forward. Instead of dismissing concerns about performative activism or cultural relevance, we should use them as guideposts for improvement. For example, how can future discussions incorporate voices from marginalized communities, ensuring that their perspectives shape the agenda? How can we measure the impact of such events beyond media coverage, tracking changes in policy, behavior, and societal attitudes? These are the questions that will help bridge the gap between dialogue and action. In essence, while the meeting faced valid criticisms, it also underscored the importance of perseverance in the face of doubt. Progress is rarely linear, and setbacks are inevitable. But every conversation, every critique, and every call for accountability brings us one step closer to a world where gender equality is not just an aspiration, but a reality. Isn't that worth striving for? Broader implications, lessons for the future. So, what lessons can we take away? First, collaboration across sectors is essential. Entertainment, spirituality, activism. Why limit ourselves to silos when unity amplifies impact? The meeting between Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama demonstrated that breaking down barriers between seemingly unrelated fields can lead to transformative outcomes. For instance, entertainment has the power to reach millions through storytelling, while spirituality offers timeless wisdom, rooted in compassion and interconnectedness. Activism, on the other hand, provides the tools and urgency needed to drive systemic change. When these forces come together, they create a synergy that no single sector could achieve alone. Consider this. How often do we dismiss the potential of cross-sector partnerships because they seem unconventional or challenging? Yet, history shows us that some of the most impactful movements have emerged from unlikely alliances. By embracing diverse perspectives, from artists, spiritual leaders, scientists, educators, and activists, we can craft solutions that are not only innovative, but also deeply resonant with a wide range of audiences. This lesson urges us to think beyond traditional boundaries and seek out collaborators who bring fresh insights and approaches to the table. Second, addressing inequality requires a holistic approach. We must tackle interconnected issues head-on, refusing to shy away from complexity. Gender inequality does not exist in isolation. It intersects with race, class, geography, and countless other factors. For example, a girl growing up in poverty may face barriers far greater than those experienced by her peers in affluent communities. Similarly, women of color often encounter discrimination that compounds gender-based challenges. Recognizing these intersections is crucial if we want to create meaningful change. Emma Watson's acknowledgement of intersectionality during the discussion serves as a reminder that one-size-fits-all solutions rarely work. Instead, we need tailored strategies that consider the unique needs of different communities. This might mean investing in culturally sensitive education programs, supporting grassroots organizations led by marginalized groups, or advocating for policies that address multiple layers of disadvantage simultaneously. The Dalai Lama's emphasis on interconnectedness reinforces this idea. Every action we take ripples outward, affecting lives in ways we may not immediately see. Therefore, our efforts must be as multifaceted as the problems we aim to solve. Finally, achieving equality is a marathon, not a sprint. Are we prepared for the long haul? Progress takes time, persistence, and resilience. High-profile events like the meeting between Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama are important. They spark conversations, raise awareness, and inspire hope. But they are just the beginning. Real change happens incrementally, through sustained effort over years, decades, or even generations. This raises an important question. How do we maintain momentum when progress feels slow or setbacks arise? One answer lies in fostering a sense of shared responsibility. Achieving gender equality is not the job of a single individual, organization, or movement. It is a collective endeavor that requires participation at all levels of society, from policymakers enacting equitable laws to teachers instilling values of respect and empathy in their students. Everyone has a role to play. Moreover, staying committed to the cause means being willing to adapt and evolve. What works today may not work tomorrow, and flexibility is key to navigating the ever-changing landscape of social justice. It also means celebrating small victories along the way, recognizing that each step forward contributes to the larger journey toward equality. In essence, the broader implications of this meeting extend far beyond its immediate context. They challenge us to embrace collaboration, adopt a holistic mindset, and commit to the long-term struggle for justice. These lessons remind us that while the road ahead may be long, the destination, a world where everyone, regardless of gender, can thrive, is worth every step. In the end, this discussion was more than an intellectual exercise. It was a call to action. Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama reminded us that gender equality is not just a goal, it is a shared responsibility. So, I ask you, what will you do to contribute? Will you advocate for inclusive education? Education is the foundation of empowerment. Yet millions of children, especially girls, are still denied access to quality learning. Imagine the transformative power of classrooms where every child, regardless of gender, race, or socioeconomic background, feels seen, heard, and valued. You can start by supporting policies that promote equal educational opportunities, or volunteering with organizations that provide resources to underserved communities. Even small actions like mentoring a young person or advocating for gender-sensitive curricula in your local schools can make a difference. Will you challenge toxic norms and uplift those around you? Society often perpetuates harmful stereotypes that limit both men and women. For instance, boys are taught to suppress emotions, while girls are conditioned to prioritize caregiving over ambition. These rigid expectations stifle individual potential and reinforce inequality. By speaking out against such norms, whether in your family, workplace, or community, you can help create spaces where authenticity thrives. Encourage the men in your life to embrace vulnerability and redefine strength as kindness and empathy. Celebrate the women who break barriers and inspire others to follow their lead. Will you support grassroots movements and foster global dialogue? Change begins at the grassroots level, where local leaders and activists work tirelessly to address systemic injustices. Consider donating time, skills, or resources to organizations fighting for gender equality. Amplify marginalized voices on social media or attend events that bring attention to these issues. On a global scale, fostering dialogue between diverse cultures and perspectives is equally vital. The collaboration between Emma Watson and the Dalai Lama demonstrated how cross-cultural exchanges can spark meaningful conversations. How might you bridge divides in your own circles? Let this event inspire you to dream bigger, act bolder, and love deeper. Reflect on the profound interconnectedness of humanity. When one person's rights are violated, we all suffer. Conversely, when one person thrives, we all benefit. Gender equality is not a zero-sum game. It enriches everyone. Picture a world where women and girls have equal access to opportunities. A world where innovation flourishes because talent is no longer wasted due to discrimination. Isn't that a vision worth striving for? For in the pursuit of equality lies the path to a more compassionate, harmonious world. Equality is not merely about fairness. It is about creating a society where everyone has the chance to live with dignity, purpose, and joy. It requires dismantling systems of oppression, challenging biases, and building bridges across divides. And isn't that a legacy worth striving for? Ultimately, the responsibility rests with each of us. No action is too small, and no voice is too insignificant. Whether you're raising awareness, influencing policy, or simply having honest conversations with those around you, your contribution matters. Together, let's turn inspiration into action and aspiration into reality. After all, the future we envision depends on what we choose to do today.